Are you wrestling with whether or not to invite or allow your mother into your birth space? Or maybe it's your mother-in-law. Maybe they fully expect to be there, but you're still not so sure that that's what you want, and it's making things a little bit weird and awkward. Well, let's talk about it. My name is Jackie Wiebe. I am a certified birth doula and the author of Birth in the Eden Environment. And in today's video, I am going to share with you some of my personal experience with this subject at one of my births, as well as some things I've observed at other births. And I'm going to give you two major keys to help you measure or gauge whether it really is a good idea to have your mom at your birth. But first, if you enjoy birth content that helps you dig deep into what God intended for birth to be, then make sure to subscribe. The mother-daughter relationship is always unique, and it's no different in that childbearing season. Some expecting moms find their relationship with their mom to be an immense source of strength and help during this time, while others find it to be a source of struggle. But either way, I think you're always going to sense that relationship during this time of your life. It's interesting, I had coffee with another doula a while back, and she actually said that the mother-daughter relationship is something that she always asks expecting moms about, like where theirs is at, as part of birth prep. For me, I know, especially thinking of postpartum, my mom was a huge help to me, and I knew that I could count on her. Like I said, especially postpartum, she was gonna, help me clean my house. She was gonna cook for me. She would take care of the baby so I could shower and take a nap. And nobody's food tastes like your mom's food postpartum, am I right? So she was a huge help to me in those ways. And I know that for some, unfortunately, that relationship is really more about obligation, entitlement, and pressure. And that's what you feel around it. So I just want to give you a few things to think about as you are making that decision. And I also want you to know that I have an entire chapter in my book, Birth in the Eden Environment, that is all about choosing a birth team. And that includes anybody who is going to be in the room, either the care provider, family members, friends, whoever it might be. So key number one as to whether your mom should be at your birth or not. Are they going to bring peace, strength, and help to the space? Or are they going to bring worry and agitation? And this can be largely determined also by where you have chosen to give birth and how they feel about that. They may know how to function well in one setting that they're used to, but if it's a different setting that they're not used to or that they're not comfortable with, they may not know how to function the same helpful way in that setting. So for example, if you are planning to have a home birth, how knowledgeable are they of a physiological birth and what the requirements are for that to work well? What is their frame of reference for birth? And like if you are planning for a physiological birth, do they know that they can't be, shouting push when it comes to pushing time and getting all riled up, or demanding to hold the baby shortly after, or asking for weight within, the first 5 minutes? Understanding there has to be that bonding time between you and your baby without interruption, all those kind of things. What is their frame of reference? How understandable are they? Because when they understand your desire, your vision, then they will know how to be a help to that instead of a hindrance. Number two, do they know their place, or are they trying to maybe compete or replace someone else? For example, your husband. There is absolutely no one who can take the place of your husband. And this is something that everyone else in the room needs to understand. Do they give you space and privacy if you need it? And do they understand that it is entirely up to you how involved or close up they are going to be in the process? And all of that without taking offense. I will share my personal story of when my mom was at one of my births. But there was also another birth I attended some years ago that was just such a good example of what it looks like when moms are there in the right way. I've watched some videos sometimes where the grandmother is at a birth, and it's hard to watch. And my heart goes out to the laboring woman, because if anyone should understand, you would think it would be somebody who's given birth before as well. But that's not always the case, unfortunately. But this one birth that I went to, her mom didn't know for sure until like the very end whether or not her daughter would want her in the room or not. She had never specifically said yes or no. I think it was kind of like, well, we'll wait and see. And so once she was in labor and she was closer to the end, she decided that she didn't want her mom in the room when the baby was born. But her mom was right in the next room along with the mother-in-law. But what was so amazing and incredible was both of these women, they were there in true love and ready to serve. And they did not get offended that they couldn't be in the room when the baby was born. The mother-in-law, I noticed she understood that this new mother's mother, the grandmother, she needed to go see her daughter first. And so she, as the mother-in-law, she didn't just barge in. She went and made food for them after the baby was born. And it was just so beautiful, like almost brings me to tears, how they were both there to truly serve and love her and give her what she needed. And that's exactly what they did. They were right in the next room. They were praying, they were believing, and truly being supportive, because they were giving her what she needed, not what they thought they wanted or they thought she needed, but what she actually needed. And that's how you are a real support to somebody. And I just think they were two of the most amazing mothers/grandmothers that I've ever seen at a birth. So the other thing is, you do always have to be led in these things. So my mom, out of her 21 grandchildren, she has only been at the birth of one of them, which happened to be my fourth birth. And this was not actually something that I had planned for a long time, but it was just something that I started thinking about during the pregnancy. It was my first out of hospital birth. She was born at a birth center in Texas. And honestly, I didn't even know if my mom would want to be there if I asked her if she wanted to be there, because she's a very reserved, kind of quiet person, very private person. So I really didn't even know if she would say yes when I invited her. But I just had a sense that it would be good for her to be there, because I wasn't quite sure if she had ever seen a very peaceful, properly supported birth. She herself experienced stillbirth with her second baby. And so I just had a sense it would be really good for her to be there, even though I didn't know for sure if she would actually want to or not. So I was actually pretty surprised when I brought it up to her, and she was immediately like, yes, I want to be there. So she and my one sister, who lived in the same area as they were both at Rayma's birth. And the thing is too, I knew that they wouldn't be intrusive or try to take something over or something crazy, but that they would be respectful of the space of the process. My sister had also had her twins at home with the same midwife, and so she was very familiar, and she knew what was needed in a space like that and what would be unhelpful. And so even though having our mom at our births in our family wasn't really a thing, she was so blessed by it. And I remember her remarking about how incredible the care was that I received and the attention to detail. And so I have no regrets about asking her to come, even though maybe that wasn't something that I had always planned or dreamed of. And another thing is that it's very important to remember that God is not going to lead you to have someone there that will be a detriment, because his plan is for good and for peace and for joy, all of those things that he created birth to be. And so even though maybe you are led to do something differently than you originally expected, where your mom is concerned or where other people are concerned, just know that God is going to lead you into good only, and into what is safe for you and what is good for you and that baby. So if this helps you recognize whether or not your mom should be there, let me know in the comments. Also, if you want to learn more about how to recognize which people are right for your birth space, especially in the context of where is a spirit of control or fear, watch this video on the screen. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.